27 years after his death, Biggie's estate just made a deal that would shock even the King of New York himself. The music world stood still on March 9, 1997, when Christopher Wallace, known to millions as the Notorious B.I.G., took his final breath outside a Los Angeles hospital. He was just 24 years old, with only 2 studio albums to his name. Yet his death would trigger one of the most complex and valuable estate battles in hip-hop history. What happened next would make his murder look simple compared to the financial warfare that erupted over his legacy. When Biggie died, his estate was worth roughly $2 million. Today that number has exploded to over $100 million. But the journey to get there reads like a crime thriller filled with betrayal, legal battles, and family drama that would make even the most hardened street hustler shake their head in disbelief. The recent sale of 50% of his catalog to Primary Wave for more than $100 million represents just the latest chapter in a story that began in a Brooklyn courtroom with his mother, Voletta Wallace, fighting for control of her son's legacy. Most people think managing a dead rapper's estate is simple. You collect the royalties, pay the bills, and watch the money roll in. But Biggie's estate became a battlefield where record labels, family members, former friends and business partners all claimed pieces of the pie. The first major shock came when Bad Boy Records, the label that made Biggie famous, refused to hand over crucial financial documents. Sean Combs, who had been like a brother to Biggie, suddenly became an adversary in the courtroom. The friendship that created classics like Mo Money Mo Problems turned into a legal nightmare that lasted for years. Voletta Wallace, a Jamaican immigrant who worked as a preschool teacher, found herself thrust into the cutthroat world of music business politics. She had never dealt with million-dollar contracts or complex royalty agreements, yet she had to learn fast, or watch her son's legacy get stolen from under her nose. The first major battle came over the rights to Ready to Die, Biggie's debut album. Bad Boy claimed they owned the masters, but Voletta's lawyers discovered that the original contract had been signed when Christopher was just 19 years old, and might not have been legal. The estate's first major victory came in 2005 when they successfully renegotiated the Bad Boy deal, securing better terms for Biggie's catalog. But this victory was overshadowed by a new problem that nobody saw coming. Biggie's daughter Tiana Wallace, who was just 3 years old when her father died, began asking questions about her inheritance as she got older. The estate had been structured to provide for her, but legal complications arose when it was discovered that some of Biggie's most valuable assets had been incorrectly valued in the original probate proceedings. Meanwhile, the hip-hop world was changing rapidly. Streaming services like Spotify and Apple Music were revolutionizing how people consumed music, and older catalogs were becoming incredibly valuable. Songs that had been earning modest royalties from CD sales and radio play suddenly became gold mines in the digital age. Juicy alone was generating hundreds of thousands of dollars annually from streaming platforms, and Big Papa was being discovered by entirely new generations of fans who had never owned a physical album. The estate faced another crisis in 2010, when Faith Evans, Biggie's widow, filed a lawsuit, claiming she was entitled to a larger share of his publishing rights. The legal battle revealed shocking details about Biggie's financial situation at the time of his death. Despite his fame and success, he had been living paycheck to paycheck, with most of his advance money going to support his lifestyle and help friends and family. The lawsuit also exposed the fact that several of his biggest hits, including Hypnotize and Mo Money Mo Problems, had been recorded just weeks before his death, meaning the estate owned these tracks outright without any label interference. As the 2010s progressed, the estate began making smarter business decisions. They partnered with brands like McDonald's and Pepsi for commercial use of Biggie's music and image. A particularly lucrative deal with Netflix for the biographical movie Notorious brought in millions in licensing fees. But the real game changer came when they realized that Biggie's unreleased material was sitting in vaults, potentially worth tens of millions of dollars. The estate commissioned a team of audio engineers to restore and catalog every piece of music, interview and freestyle that Biggie had ever recorded. The discovery of 23 previously unknown tracks in 2015 sent shockwaves through the hip-hop community. These weren't just throwaway verses or incomplete songs, but fully realized tracks that showcased Biggie's evolution as an artist. The estate faced a difficult decision about whether to release this material or keep it archived. They chose a middle path, releasing select tracks on special anniversary editions and compilation albums, which generated massive sales and renewed interest in Biggie's catalog. Social media platforms like TikTok and Instagram created another revenue stream that nobody could have predicted in 19. Young content creators began using Biggie's music in their videos, introducing his lyrics to Generation Z listeners who weren't even born when he died. The estate's lawyers worked overtime to ensure proper licensing deals were in place, turning viral moments into profitable opportunities. A 15-second clip of Juicy on TikTok could generate thousands of dollars in licensing fees, and the estate was collecting on every single use. The family dynamics continued to complicate matters as Biggie's children came of age. His son Christopher Jr., born just months before his father's death, began showing interest in music and wanted access to unreleased material for his own project. The estate had to balance supporting his artistic ambitions while protecting the integrity of his father's legacy. This led to heated family meetings, where different visions for Biggie's future clashed with legal realities about how the estate could be managed. Everything changed in 2020 when the pandemic created an unexpected boom in music catalog sales. Established artists like Bob Dylan and Neil Young were selling their catalogs for hundreds of millions of dollars, and investors began looking at hip-hop catalogs as undervalued assets. The estate received their first serious offer from Primary Wave, a music investment company that specialized in acquiring and managing legendary artist catalogs. The initial offer was $40 million for a 25% stake, but Valletta Wallace's advisors knew they could do better. The negotiation process took 3 years, and involved some of the most expensive entertainment lawyers in the country. Primary Wave's team analyzed every aspect of Biggie's catalog, from streaming numbers to merchandising potential. They discovered that his music was being used in over 50 movies and television shows annually, generating consistent licensing revenue that most people never knew about. The estate's legal team, led by lawyer Lundell Macmillan, played hardball, demanding not just money but guarantees about how Biggie's image and music would be used in the future. The final deal, announced in early 2024, was worth more than anyone had imagined. Primary Wave agreed to pay over $100 million for 50% of Biggie's publishing, master recordings, and publicity rights. The deal included provisions for future film and television projects, a Broadway musical, and even a potential hologram tour. For the first time since his death, Biggie's estate had the financial backing to truly compete with living artists in terms of marketing and promotion. Some hip-hop purists argued that selling the catalog to a corporate entity betrayed Biggie's street credibility and independent spirit. Others questioned whether the estate had the right to make such a massive decision without input from the entire hip-hop community that had supported Biggie throughout his career. The debate raged on social media and in hip-hop publications, with some fans organizing boycotts of Primary Wave's other artists. The estate's response was swift and decisive. They announced that a significant portion of the sale proceeds would go toward establishing the Christopher Wallace Foundation, focused on providing educational opportunities for young people in Brooklyn and other underserved communities. They also committed to maintaining creative control over how Biggie's music and image would be used, ensuring that any future projects would honor his artistic vision and cultural impact. The financial implications of the deal are staggering. The estate now receives guaranteed annual payments of several $1 million, regardless of how well the catalog performs. But Primary Wave's investment strategy suggests they believe the catalog will generate far more than they paid for. Industry analysts predict that Biggie's music will continue growing in value as hip-hop becomes the dominant global music genre, and as new technologies create additional revenue streams. The success of the estate also reflects broader changes in how the music industry values hip-hop. When Biggie died in 1997, rap music was still considered a niche genre with limited commercial appeal. Today it dominates the charts and generates billions in revenue annually. The estate's journey from $2 million to over $100 million mirrors hip-hop's own evolution from underground art form to mainstream cultural force. Looking ahead, The estate faces new challenges and opportunity. Virtual reality concerts, artificial intelligence-generated music, and blockchain-based music ownership are all creating new ways for fans to experience and pay for music. The estate's partnership with Primary Wave positions them to capitalize on these technological advances while maintaining the authentic connection that made Biggie's music so powerful in the first place. The human cost of this financial success cannot be ignored. Valletta Wallace, now in her 70s, has spent nearly 3 decades fighting to protect her son's legacy. The stress of constant legal battles, family disputes, and business decisions has taken a toll on her health and personal relationships. Yet she remains committed to ensuring that Christopher's children and grandchildren will benefit from his artistic contributions long after she's gone. The estate's success story offers important lessons for other artists and their families. Proper estate planning, strong legal representation, and careful business partnerships can transform a modest inheritance into generational wealth, but it also shows how complex and emotionally draining the process can be, especially when family dynamics and business interests come. As we move forward, the Notorious B.I.G's estate stands as one of the most successful posthumous music ventures in history. The shy kid from Brooklyn who dreamed of escaping poverty through rap music has become a global brand worth more than most living artists will ever earn. His story continues to inspire new generations of musicians, while generating the kind of wealth that seemed impossible when he was alive. The recent Primary Wave deal represents not just a financial transaction, but a cultural moment that confirms hip-hop's permanent place in American entertainment. Biggie's estate has proven that great art, properly managed, can create lasting value that transcends its creator's lifetime. 27 years after his death, Christopher Wallace's legacy continues to grow, and the best may be yet to come. Subscribe now to discover which rapper's estate will be the next $100 million